Okay, I'm going to try something different today. Try some techniques that perhaps some beginners will find helpful. And you can see I got a kind of a wide angle right now with the building in the background, and hopefully the camera is focusing on me. I can barely see the screen. But I'm going to walk around in the frame just a little bit, and we're going to pan the picture. I'm shooting in 4K 30. So shooting in 4K means I can zoom in maybe twice as close to my face and still get enough detail. In the background, hopefully, is going out of focus just a little bit. We'll see that when I edit it. So I'm going to walk around just a little bit. Also, I want to try different frame rates. I've been arguing with these yahoos online, and one guy, he is a big proponent of shooting in 24 frames per second. I said, for walking around video, nature video, you don't want that. It's too jittery. And he said, nobody wants to see smooth video. He calls it the soap opera effect, because a lot of soap operas are probably filmed in 30 to 60 frames per second. Well, I say 60 frames, technically it might be 60 fields per second. But we're going to experiment with that and explain why I don't shoot in 24. There's no problem with shooting in 24. If your end result is very specific, use very specific techniques like defocus the background. If you're walking along somebody and you keep them in focus and you defocus the background, you won't notice that jitter. But I'll demonstrate how the jitter is very real at 24 frames per second. But we'll move this camera around a little bit and we'll just do a video and see what happens here. Now I've got I'm on 24 frames per second, f11, 50th of a second, and I'm just going to pan this camera. I see the focus is on the propane tank there. I'm just going to do a simple pan, and I can see in the viewfinder it's what I call juttering or jittery, and I'll go back, do a little slower this time, just keep it, then I'm going to go up to 30 frames per second and try the same thing, and I'll keep the shutter speed at twice the frame rate. That's kind of a general rule. Okay, now I'm shooting at a 30th of a second at 125th of a second shutter speed, f11. Kept that the same, so my ISO probably jumped up a little bit. That's okay. But you see how much smoother it is. Then I'll just pan back. Then we'll try 60th here, the next video. I can tell that's a lot better. Oh, I must confess, on the last one I did, a 30th of a second, I was shooting 125th. I should have been shooting 160th, but I think my point will still be proven here. Now we're at 60 frames per second, 125th at f11. And we'll pan it back here. Okay. We'll see how smooth that is. Now I should be mentioning that I had a polarizer in front of the lens to cut the light down approximately 1.5 stops. And here I'm shooting at 24 frames per second and it looks just fine. Because it's a steel object, I'm not moving the camera around. Everything's hunky-dory. We cut this pampas grass, the dry stuff, about a week ago, and the shoots are just coming up like crazy now. Okay, but I don't shoot all my video on the tripod, very little on the tripod. Some of it's handheld. Here I'm going on the gimbal. It's normally how I shoot, doing nature videos. We'll just see, I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, and we'll just see how this does. A little wider angle here, keeping everything in focus. So I'm going a side pan here. Let's see what that looks like. And then I'll switch it to 60 frames per second, and we'll go from there. I'll just do a quick pan. This is a very slow pan on the gimbal here. Okay, here I switched to 125th of a second. It's f11 at 60 frames per second in 4K. And we'll just walk with it here. It's on the gimbal. We'll do a side pan of this old garage and see how it looks compared to the 24. Then we'll stop and do a pan like we did with the 24 frames per second. We'll see how much smoother it is. Okay, here we're trying 24 frames per second. Doing a side pan here, and we'll see how jerky it is. Okay, well that's why I shoot 60 frames per second. I just hate arguing with these guys, but I'll see if I can direct that guy to the video and explain. Like I say, people do wonderful things with 24 frames per second, but it's usually special techniques, and they don't do just this walking around type video either. So, and really 60 frames per second is what we're used to. On the old camcorders, I used to call it 30 frames per second interlaced. Some of them might call it 60i. That's 60 interlaced, and it's not 60 frames per second, but it's 60 fields per second. And you do get a nice smooth look with 60 fields per second. That's basically what I'm shooting at, but my individual frames are a little more resolution and sharper than the interlaced video would be. But that's what we've been used to for years on the old camcorders, was 30 frames per second, but 60 fields per second. And so it gives it that smooth look we're used to.